It has been an absolutely amazing year, and I thought this would be a good time to reminisce and think about my favorite and least favorite recipes that I made this year. Let's start with my 5 worst recipes. Number 5 involves a flavor I'm not really a fan of. I'm gonna make matcha crinkle cookies. That does not look very green. Doesn't exactly match the picture. I think I need to add a little green food coloring now. Then I incorporate that matcha flour. That's a very unique green. Well, I take that dough and I roll it into a ball. Then I'm going to take that ball and put it in some granulated sugar, followed by some powdered sugar. And then it'll go straight from there onto a cookie sheet. And now I just bake them at 350 for 11 minutes. Okay, I have to confess to you, I'm not really a fan of matcha, but I think all dolled up in sugar, it's gotta be good. Well, they crinkled. They just kind of stayed as balls. Didn't spread very much. Matcha crinkle cookie. Still not a fan of matcha. Number 4 is a historical presidential recipe. Well, hello there. I'd like to show you something special today to celebrate President's Day. I'm gonna show you something our founding fathers would make. They would make cucumber soup. Peel and chop 4 cucumbers. Since I live in modern times, I'll be putting these cucumbers in a blender. You can serve it hot or cold. Decorate it with a little cucumber. Cucumber soup. Very presidential and a bit plain. My 3rd worst recipe comes from someone I looked up to as a child. Well, hey there, and welcome to my kitchen. Now I'm cooking another dish out of my celebrity cookbook. This is a fun one. It's actually from Captain Kangaroo, the guy who plays Captain Kangaroo, Bob Keeshan. Well, he came up with a recipe called Country Chicken Loaf. Captain Kangaroo was such a great show for the kids. Remember him hanging out with Mr. Green Jeans? That sure was fun. And how about him with his moose puppet? That was always a lot of fun. And he would say things and all these ping pong balls would fall on his head. Did you say falling ping pong balls? I sure did. Oh! Half a green pepper goes in there next. Don't forget to remove the sticker. Gotcha. You're gonna need a loaf pan. Whoa! Loaf pan. Give it a spray. And that ground up mess goes right inside. This is something, all right. Well, I'm gonna cook it at 350 for about 40 minutes. Captain Kangaroo, I'm trusting you now. Well, here it is. How'd we do, Captain Kangaroo? Well, that's something. Country chicken loaf. It's quite a mess, but how does it taste? Not horrible, but not great either. It's kind of like a baby food. My second worst recipe from this year comes from the Great Depression. Hey, folks! It's called Depression sausage from the Depression era. Now, the weird thing is it doesn't contain any meat. It utilizes black-eyed peas. It'll be nice and stiff. And I just form it into a sausage shape. Then I just fry them in some oil. We want it to be brown on all sides. This certainly reminds me of something. I can't quite put my finger on it. Depression sausage. Now, will it taste depressing? Who knows? It's soft and slimy on the fork. And the onion definitely pops out, and so does the sage, but it doesn't really feel meaty to me. It definitely feels beany. And my number one worst recipe, you just have to see it. So many exciting cards. So I thought I'd cook one that's very famous from this box to begin. It actually comes from the O section, which is contemporary cooking. So it's a contemporary recipe. It's card 06. And that card is this. It's a ham and banana hollandaise. You eat it and you cook it in the oven. I have to, you know, it sounds absolutely hideous, but I have to try these things. So let's do it. The recipe calls for 6 bananas. I don't feel confident wasting 6 bananas, so I'm gonna use 4. I'm gonna spread some mustard on top of some ham slices. And then wrap that around those bananas, like this. I'm gonna bake these thrilling bananas in a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes. I'm gonna pour that sauce over those hot bananas, and then I'm gonna allow it to bake for 4 more minutes. Ham and bananas hollandaise. I'm starting to salivate. Well, here we go, folks. I gotta tell you, the banana has a very mushy feeling to the fork. I'm gonna have to make sure I get a bite that incorporates the ham and the sauce and the banana. Very exciting combination. Well, it's not one of my favorite things, I'll tell you that. The slimy banana with the hollandaise sauce. It's not one for the record books. And McCall's is a very well-recognized magazine. Not sure what they were thinking with this one, but I'll give it a pass. Now on to my best recipes of the year. My number 5 best recipe was quite a surprise. A pie made out of tea. How about a vanilla rooibos pie? Let's find out. In a bowl, I need to crack 2 eggs. And a ½ a cup of granulated sugar. I'm gonna whisk that until fluffy. I'm gonna add a 1/3 cup of cornstarch and a shake of salt. Whisk that until smooth. In a medium saucepan, I need a cup of milk and a cup of heavy whipping cream. I'm gonna heat that up until it's almost boiling. I'm gonna remove it from the heat. I'm gonna add 3 tea bags. This is when I add that rooibos tea. We're gonna let this just sit and steep for 15 minutes. But you can use any type of tea here. They've been steeping. Now we could squeeze out those tea bags. And we're gonna put it back on the heat to almost boiling. I'm gonna remove a little bit of that hot, creamy mix. I'm gonna slowly pour it into my egg mixture while whisking. So now I've warmed that egg mixture up just a tiny bit. And I'm gonna slowly pour that into the milky mixture while whisking. I'm gonna add it back to the heat and continuously stir it. Stir it constantly until nice and thick. Remove from heat. I'm gonna stir in 2 tablespoons of butter until nice and smooth. Now I'm gonna let this cool until room temperature. Okay, I'm gonna pour that into a prepared pie crust. Now I just let this cool in the refrigerator for about 3 hours. It's all nice and chilled. Let's slather on some whipped cream. It's like I'm painting a picture. That sure looks nice. We have ourselves a vanilla rooibos tea pie. Let's have a slice. This looks pretty awesome. Let's try this. Tea pie. I definitely taste the vanilla in that rooibos. And it kind of tastes like a custardy pie. It's a tea custard pie, and it's amazing. You gotta try this, and with different teas. Imagine a chamomile tea pie. It's pie I can have before bed, and that's a winner in my book. My number 4 best recipe of the year was celebrating tater tots in a new way. Well, hello. It's time to get tatin' with some tater tots. I'm gonna be making a tater tot potato salad. It's actually a warm salad, so it's kind of like a potato tot German potato salad. Let's get started. I need to cook some tots in the oven, but you're gonna cook them for quite a long time so they get crispy. So do it about 10 minutes longer than what the directions say. I've chopped up some bacon here and I'm just gonna toss it in a pan. We need to cook it until it's nice and crisp. I've chopped an onion, time to add it to the pan. I'm adding a little pepper and a little salt and 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm gonna mix that in and allow it to caramelize for about a minute. And now I add a 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar. I'm gonna mix that in and make sure I get up all the brown bits. And then I'll turn off the heat. I let these taters cool for a couple minutes and now I'm gonna toss them in a bowl. I'm gonna add my bacon sauce and then toss it to coat. It smells absolutely incredible. Getting ready to serve. And I'll cut some chives on top. German potato salad with tater tots. Whoa, that is amazing. That dressing is so sweet and divine. So much more exciting than I thought this was gonna be. I highly recommend you giving this a try. My number 3 best recipe involved my favorite cookie. Nutter butter. Nutter butter. I'm making some nutter butter pie. Nutter butters, they're my favorite cookie. Time to make a crust. We need 24 Nutter Butters, and we need to food process them. They're so gosh darn cute. Process it until ground into crumbs. Add to a bowl with 6 tablespoons of melted butter. Give it a mix. Now I'm gonna dump it into a pie plate and press it up the sides. I'm gonna bake this for about 11 to 12 minutes in a 350-degree oven and let it cool completely. For the filling, let's grind 12 more cookies. In a bowl, I need a block of softened cream cheese, 1 cup of marshmallow fluff, and a 1/3 cup of creamy peanut butter. Mix together until smooth. Add 1.5 cups of whipped topping and those cookie crumbs. Give it a good stir. Add that filling to your pie crust. Then I'm going to spread 1 cup of whipped topping on the top. Now let it chill in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Drizzle on a little melted peanut butter. Nutter butter pie. Wow. Definitely one of the best pies I've ever had. You gotta try it. The number 2 best recipe, probably the best soup I've ever had in my entire life. I want to make a special dinner today. Now I've heard about this thing, lasagna soup, that it's all the rage. I've got to try it. But you know what? I heard that there's another kind called a white chicken lasagna soup. I'm going to try that one. I'm melting a 1/4 cup of butter in a pan. I'm adding 1 chopped medium onion. I'm going to cook that until it's nice and translucent. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of garlic, a good shake of thyme, pinch of salt, a little black pepper. Very aromatic. Now I'm adding 3 tablespoons of flour, and I'm going to cook it for about 2 minutes until golden. I need 6 cups of chicken broth next. Now I'm adding some cooked chicken to my broth. Foster Farms. I'm going to bring this to a boil. When it starts bubbling, I need some lasagna noodles. I'm going to break it up into 2-inch pieces right into the stock. It'll be about 8 ounces of noodles. And then I'm going to lower the temperature and let them simmer until nice and soft. Noodles are soft. Let's make this nice and creamy. We're adding 1/3 cup of heavy whipping cream. About 4 ounces of cream cheese. A cup of shredded mozzarella. And 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan. Then we're going to stir that up until it's nice and incorporated. Then we cook it for about 3 to 5 minutes. Now it's time to mix in some spinach. It could be fresh, it can be defrosted. Just mix it in and let it cook for a couple more minutes. Wow, doesn't that look decadent? White chicken lasagna soup. That is amazing. Creamy, cheesy goodness. Loving those noodles in there. This could be a new favorite soup. A great way to warm yourself up in the wintertime. And my number 1 recipe. It was a great one. Grab some bananas, folks. We're making an amazing banana pudding. Oh, thank you very much. That was my sister. She just gave me her recipe for banana pudding. But I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna use one of my favorite cookies, Lotus Biscoff cookies. This is gonna be great. Line the bottom of a dish with those cookies. That looks so pretty. Now we need to slice 6 bananas on the top. I need a bowl and some vanilla pudding mix. Add 2 cups of cold milk and whisk it for 1 minute to get it thick. In another bowl, I need softened cream cheese, a can of condensed milk. Add and beat together. We need 12 ounces of whipped topping folded in. Mix the pudding mix in as well. Stir it well and pour it on top of those bananas. Then we're just gonna cover it with another pack of these Lotus Biscoff biscuits. I'm so happy I had a few extra biscuits. Now refrigerate it at least 4 hours or even overnight. Biscoff banana pudding. Whoa. That's great. It's like a caramelized banana. I'm so thankful for you as my subscribers, for having you in my life. It's been a great year, and I look forward to seeing you next year for more exciting recipes.